the thinking mind, the cognizing mind, the mind that reflects and sees and contextualizes, it's not an enemy. It's also, in itself, not a barrier or an obstacle to your awakening. When we start exploring awakening, however you want to term the phrase awakening, we start to begin to recognize that we spend a lot of time kind of lost in thought, let's say. And it might feel like we're trapped in the mind sometimes. Like we over-identify with thoughts. So there's this natural movement to kind of disidentify with thoughts, with the thinking mind, and move more into the direct experience of the moment. And this is crucial in order to wake up, to inhabit the senses, inhabit the sensory experience of now, fully, with full fidelity, without any deviation or coloration, any hindrances, without any delusion, to feel the moment by moment by moment unfolding of experience now. What can happen along the way, and I've heard many teachers speak like this, we can begin to vilify, see as an enemy the mind that thinks, the mind that contextualizes. And that's dangerous actually. I would say it's dangerous because the thinking mind thinks. That's what it does. And it's not an accident. It's part of nature. It is a gift that we've got, this beautiful faculty of the human experience to be able to engage in life. Engage in life through activity, creativity, relationship, communication, art, all of these different flavors of experience in the world as a person, as a human, let's say, not as a person, but yeah, as a human. That's because of our faculty of mind. What a beautiful thing that is. This mind, this cognizing mind, is responsible for, through its creativity, every single word that's ever been written down or spoken, including all the great works of art, all the great books. It's responsible for all of the progresses in science and medicine that we benefit from. Extended life expectancy that we experience now compared to maybe 200 years ago, because of this beautiful creativity, insightful power of the mind to investigate, understand, formulate, to create. I'm not even touching on the artistic sphere, which you could say is one of the first areas in which humans started to really explore the faculty of mind and what it's capable of. The very first abstractions from the moment by moment experience were through art and creativity, and that has been a crucial part of our development and of the building of society. So the reason I mention this is because this kind of message you don't hear very often, that actually the mind, this thinking mind that we have is, it's crucial and it's part of what we are. So to see it as an enemy and to try and get rid of it is going to cause pain, because you cannot get rid of this that we are. The mind that thinks and the moment that is experienced, they are not two. However, through delusion, when we are deluded, you could say that the main or the key delusion that we explore in awakening is that we are only the mind. We are purely defined by thoughts, and we only view the world through the lens of thought. And that is extremely painful, because it's not in line with nature. But also, once we're able to let go of that identification, that we think we're only this, we can see that we are much more than just our thoughts. And this includes our thoughts, our thinking mind, our cognizing mind. And then instead of being the one, the apparent individual who's created through thought, through reflective nature of consciousness, instead of just being that, we get to inhabit direct experience through our senses, through the body, in the moment, and the mind gets to work. I say work is probably the right word, but work and create freely from a place of non-ignorance, non-delusion. So if I no longer believe, deeply believe that I am my thinking mind and only that, then my thinking mind is free to create in the world from a place of embodied presence without ever deluding myself or others. So if you're on this path of awakening and you hear messages about, and you will hear messages quite rightly about moving away from mind into senses, just be aware that actually, although that's a natural movement and it's an important movement, we don't abandon the gift of mind. In fact, you can't. Try as much as you like, you can't. If you become let's say you become a totally realized being who's no longer deluded, this is just an example, whatever that means, and that points to complete fidelity with direct experience. We be in the world, we act and mediate in the world and in relationship through faculty of mind. That's what it's here for. That's the gift of the thinking, cognizing mind. It allows us to interface with the moment. And if we don't completely identify with those thoughts, it's not a problem. It naturally comes online when it needs to. And then when we don't need to engage in thought, it can soften. But can you imagine trying to do complex engineering tasks without mind? Not possible. Simply not possible. So, and people might point to, well, yeah, you can just intuitively be in the body and then the right action comes up through spontaneous availability. And it does so through mind. Absolutely it does so through mind, because the mind creates the ability to contextualize, to create the context of, let's say, engine that I'm working on. It's a bit of a weird task, I'm not an engineer. But yeah, so if I'm not able to contextualize engine and parts of engine, then I'm unable to work on that engine. I'm unable to tend to the engine mechanically or through engineering. So the mind naturally has the ability to contextualize, to separate, to put values on things. And if we don't take that to be ultimately true, once a task is over, it's let go of. We don't need that faculty anymore because it's not being used, and we can rest in being. So the mind is not your enemy. The thoughts are not your enemy. They are not an obstacle to waking up. They're a natural part of being alive. They're just not what you truly are.